to the Special Olympics Ontario 2016 Provincial Spring Games from right here in Guelph. I'm Scott Fraser, and over the next half hour, we'll take you through every venue and every sport. We're speaking to fans, coaches, organizers, volunteers, and of course, the athletes. Believe and achieve. Come with us to the games.
The police involvement started in and around 1996, where they had a torch run, which is, just a bunch of police officers that wanted to run for a cause, and Special Olympics was chosen, and it just grew from there. It has been an 18-month journey, and it's been everything from theory and we can do this and we can do that to now it's all reality. It's unbelievable. Everything is unfolding very nicely. It is unbelievable. So I like the term I use is unfiltered enthusiasm. There's just enthusiasm and then more enthusiasm. The sportsmanship is fantastic. Like I said, the enthusiasm, and it's not about winning. It's about having fun. It's about meeting friends, and I mean, I just find it's an environment everybody needs to be exposed to, and it's quite addictive. That's why we have 600 plus volunteers, because they know.
So this morning we have our first group of athletes that are coming in to bowl. They're just finishing up their third game right now, and there has been a lot of cheering and a lot of supporting going on, and a lot of strikes, lots of spares, and as you can hear in the back, and they're having a great time. Amazing bowling. I can't bowl to save my life, and these folks are bowling averages of 150 to, I saw 294 earlier. They are amazing bowlers, and they are really proud of themselves, as they should be. So the atmosphere in here has been tremendous. You walk everywhere, you see smiles. What's amazing is that every athlete is so proud of themselves and cheering for themselves as they finish their return. But at the same time, their entire team is cheering for them. There is no competition, even though it is somewhat of a competition. Everybody is happy and supporting each other, and it's just been amazing.
Competition's gone very well. This morning the athletes competed in the team competition, and they're just eating lunch now, getting ready for the doubles competition. We've seen some scores this morning in the excess of 220, so the athletes are trying their best. They're having a great time, lots of fun, and we're seeing a lot of great competition today on the lanes.
So in your role, tell me what it is you're doing here this weekend.
My role is a volunteer role with Special Olympics. I have spent the last few months working with the coaches, getting all the information together to put the competition together. Did all the divisioning, the lane draws, and am just here as the sport expert for any of the issues that may arise here today, and just make sure that the competition runs smoothly.
It's a big deal to get to a provincial championship. How exciting is it for the athletes and for the coaches that are here?
It's a huge excitement. For a lot of these athletes, it's their first time outside of their community, so they've all been practicing weekly in their community clubs. They all competed at a provincial qualifier last spring, which then qualified them to attend here. And this is their next step, where after this weekend, people will qualify for national games, which will take place in 2018. So it's a huge step. So the athletes are super excited. There's actually something on the line for them. The coaches are excited. They want to see their athletes do well. They want to see the growth. They want to see personal best. It's not just about the medals, but the personal bests are there. And you even see a lot of them come out of their shells personality-wise. A lot of the shyer athletes, they're getting to know their teammates better. They're getting to know other athletes from across the province. So it's a big deal for them, and they're having a great time, and there's a lot of great competition going on.
How do you prepare your athletes for a provincial championship?
Lots of practice ahead of time. Lots of pep talks, lots of keep it positive, have fun most of all.
When you look around and the games that you've played so far, what's the level of competition here?
It's pretty darn good. Don't fool yourself. These are excellent athletes.
I did pretty good today. This is my first time here at the Special Olympic Games, and I really enjoy it. Yeah, I find it pretty nice because of the competition out there, and then and everyone is having fun, and just like the motto, let me be brave in the attempt.
It's fun. I'm with friends, and it gets me out of the house. I'm excited. It's the first time I've been here, and I'm hoping to go for a gold.
Okay, when it comes to running this particular event, how do you explain what's required to the coaches and the athletes? Where do you start with that?
Well, they would have needed to qualify for the event, so they've been through this before. The differences with this meet is that we're not as lenient as we might be at a qualifying competition. So we make sure that they know their commands and they follow the judges' rules. That way we can keep the spotters and loaders safe, as well as the athletes. So as long as they're all on the same page as the judges, the coaches and the lifters, then everyone can have a good time. There's 3 competitions, squat, bench, and dead. And the athletes would each get 3 attempts for each lift. They would go up in ascending order to the highest weight for their first attempt, and then it would go right back down to the lightest lifter's second attempt, and then up to the top, back down for the third. And once we're done the third, we move on to bench press. So 3 attempts and 3 different lifts.
When you're coaching, I guess, it looks very simple to us, but there must be a bunch of moves that are broken down in there. So take us through it.
Yeah, it goes right from the basics, right? So you want to teach them good, proper mechanics with like a straight back, flat feet, making sure they're getting the proper range of motion. So for us, it took about 6 months to make sure everyone could get that proper range of motion. And then for us, it's just breaking it down so that their chest is up, their head's up, they're driving with their feet the right way. Because as the weight gets heavier, they start to kind of they shift the weight a little bit, and so it's just about keeping everything the same, and it's like an elevator. You go down and up, right? And as soon as we start changing the little things, that's when things start going off. So we just try to teach that and make sure they're doing the proper mechanics, and then everything else is just how hard they work.
So there are athletes here from all over the province. You've got your athletes. What do you think of the atmosphere? They seem to be quite enthusiastic.
It's awesome. Like from the moment that we arrived yesterday, or from the moment we got on the bus yesterday, everyone was high fives. And a lot of these athletes are multi-sport athletes, right? So they all compete locally in bowling and swimming and figure skating, and then they get chosen for certain individual sports to come to provincials. And but it's amazing. They're just excited to be here. They just multiple athletes have come up and they don't care how much is on the bar. They just want to have fun, and that's what it's all about here. And as a coach, it's I coach a lot of different athletes in different sports, and this is my favorite. It's the pressure's not there. You just want everyone to have fun, get successful lifts, and at the end of the day, they're ready for that dance tomorrow night, and they're gonna have a great time.
I've been powerlifting for many years, but it's been so long that I've been doing it.
What is it about powerlifting that you like?
Powerlifting is fun, and it's you get the strength, and then you meet all kinds of athletes and coaches, and you have fun, and you mingle with people and that, and you mingle with the volunteers. I've been mingling with the volunteers today, and they've been fantastic.
Tell me a little bit about your technique and how you train to do what you're doing today.
We kind of do a warm-up with some weights, and then our coach tells us what to do, and then we just do whatever he tells us to do.
I've watched you today. Is the tricky part going from the squat to standing up full?
You do the squat, and then you got to stand up, and you got to have your chest out, and you got to have your chin up. Sometimes people get stuck, but some people do, and I don't get stuck. But it's not easy. It's not an easy thing to do.
You look very focused and very determined. Are you talking to yourself that whole time?
I stare. I don't look at the crowd. I just stare at a wall. And then after, I will look at the crowd, and I will do my stand again today, what I did. So that's my thing.
So tell me a little bit about this team, where you're from, and how you prepared for this weekend.
We are the Welland Warriors, and for the tournament this weekend, we prepared by practicing for 2 hours once a week with lots of running, working on passing and teamwork, and getting to know our players and how we play together, and just strengthening our skills as well as our friendship with each other.
And that is certainly important in any sport that's a team sport, is the team dynamics.
Yes. you could tell if people get along or who they like to pass to, and just trusting each other with the ball, and then who likes to shoot or who's the tall players underneath the basket that we like to utilize. And
So the game we just watched was very, very exciting, a very close game. Have all your games been like that? And is that what you expect when you look at the level of competition that's here this weekend?
Yesterday we had divisioning, and it was very well matched up. Through our tournaments, they keep track of scores, and with divisioning, we were placed against teams that we were pretty well even with, so that was very nice. Sometimes we go to tournaments and you're in the wrong division, or you're playing teams that are a lot better or sometimes a lot weaker. And with divisioning, it really helped make competition fair and a good competition.
I think we work really good. I have a really good friend down here, and she's like a sister, so we get along pretty well.
How excited were you to come to Guelph to the Provincial Championships?
I was really excited. It was a chance to experience something new, and I was looking forward to competing, giving it my all, and working 100%.
Most people don't know, but we actually just started our team last year. That last year was our first year together as a team, and going away to qualifiers was our first time playing any other team that wasn't ourselves. So last year to go to qualifiers was amazing, and then to make it through to provincials, we were just thrilled to even be able to get that experience. I would say I had to kind of reel myself in a little bit because we didn't want to get too excited ourselves, because that in turn makes our athletes super excited. But it was definitely an awesome game to watch. Every single game in here today, just the energy and the crowd has been awesome. So every game has been really exciting. It was awesome of our athletes that they were able to kind of calm themselves down, because we haven't been in this tense of a game situation. So I was very proud of them for that.
Everybody played well. My coach Sandra over here, she did a good job, and Tyler and Braylon, the other coaches as well, at calming us down. And we played our game, and that allowed us to come back as a team.
How excited are you to be at a provincial championship?
It's awesome. Better that than being at home playing video games. I love playing, I love battling, competing in these gritty style of games with my teammates, and celebrate a nice victory here today.
So tell me, what do you do when you're not playing basketball?
Well, actually, I'm at Lakehead University. I'm doing my master's degree in physics. Now that's going well. That's still got a couple more courses to do, but I'm doing well with that. And Special Olympics, I really enjoy that on the side to help me get away from that.
Do you play any other sports with Special Olympics?
I do. Soccer, and maybe some others. We'll see how the schooling goes, but I do also play soccer.
I have a family connection. My daughter has Down syndrome, and she loves swimming. I used to be a competitive swimmer myself. I always wanted to get back into coaching swimming, but I decided to get into Special Olympics, and it has been the most rewarding experience I've ever had.
What is it that's rewarding about it?
The swimmers that I coach and that are at the provincials, anywhere you go in Special Olympics, everyone's a winner, no matter how old, young, fast or slow, everyone is a winner. In Special Olympics, you never see the disability. You only see the ability in all our athletes. And not only that, but it's so rewarding. These athletes, our motto is, I did it. They're so proud that they accomplished something. And that's why I love Special Olympics. I've often said to many people, if everyone could have the opportunity to coach Special Olympics, they truly would know what the true meaning of sport is.
Now, in terms of getting here, tell me the steps to bring you to the provincials.
Well, we have weekly practices, and then we go to qualifiers. So last year we had the qualifiers at the new Pan Am pool. And the swimmers are in 4 to 6 events, and that is to their strength. And then they have to qualify according to their speed and their category and age. And then what we are notified as coaches who qualifies for the provincials. And then we practice all year long. We do weekly practices, and then we go to swim meets all throughout Ontario. And we submit our times, and then we come to the provincials. So it's a lot of work, but very, very rewarding.
As a coach, then, what is it that you're working on? What skill set are you emphasizing?
Well, first of all, we're always working towards our personal best. So every swimmer is working towards their personal best in the stroke that they are strong in. So we always work to the swimmer's strengths. And then we work on the skills and the speed and the endurance. But the key is if they love it, they'll do so well. So that's the key. Our swimmers love what they do. You can see it in the pool. And even if they come in last, they're so proud of themselves because it's a huge accomplishment for them. So for the provincials, the nationals, and the worlds, it's not about the gold medal, the silver, or the bronze. It's about doing it and that they accomplish something. So it's a wonderful experience for them.
Well, this is my second time for provincials for swimming. I have been in Special Olympics since 2009. This is my second time going to Worlds for Austria next year. And I've been competing and I just love it.
What is it that you love about it? Can you describe that?
I love the challenge. I love pushing myself. I love to do to make my times more achievable. And I also love to meet new friends too. Like, it's just something I love doing.
You know, it's a passion. All of us who coach, it's a passion. These athletes just inspire us every day, and the love that they show for us, their sport, their friends, it just makes you want to come every night, even when you're exhausted.
I watched some of the athletes come off the floor and run to you, and their whole body is just celebrating what they just did.
I know. I come to tears almost every time. You know, we've worked so hard this year. All of the athletes here had to learn 4 brand new routines in 1 year, which is incredibly difficult. And these are international routines, so they're learned across the world, except for the level 4s, which they create their own. So for these guys to have mastered these routines and to just have that much pride in themselves and confidence in themselves, when they come off, they're exploding because they're just feeling like $1 million, and it makes me feel like $1 million too.
So how do you take them through the process of learning the new routine to today?
Well, when we start, we isolate the different moves that they have to learn with each piece of apparatus, so we teach them in isolation, and then we teach them the dance moves, and then it's sort of like putting together puzzle pieces. You add one at a time, start to bring in the music, and so you build on it. It's definitely a building process, and you have to make sure they have the good foundation with all the moves before you start putting it to the music and putting the whole routine together. Well, you know what? A lot of people think that our athletes are pretty uncoordinated, and there might be one or two, but these athletes all have an amazing talent, and sometimes it just takes bringing it out of them to show what they can really do. And we have athletes who, after they started in rhythmic gymnastics, the parents put them into ballet classes and dance classes, and they're in with generic classes learning with all the other kids. And it just starts a whole domino effect of talent for them. And for those that struggle with the dance, sometimes it's the fact that they can manipulate an apparatus so well. They may not get the dance steps, but they can sure work a ribbon. So it's success all around for them. And even those that need one-on-one help, you know, while they're doing their performance, it's still amazing that they're able to follow and remember what they can, and it's all success. It's wonderful.
So as I understand it as well, you have been to the Worlds. Tell me about that experience.
Well, it was my first time. I went last year in LA, and it was just my first time, so it was like everything was new, and it was a lot of fun. It was so much fun.
How long have you been a Special Olympian?
I started when I was 8 years old. So.
And have you always done gymnastics?
No, I did baseball for a bit because I was trying to find where I was at. I did baseball, I did track and field, I did floor hockey, I did curling. You know, I did a little bit, and I was like, no, this doesn't suit me. And then I did gymnastics, and I was like, oh yeah, this suits me.
What is it about gymnastics that you like?
Probably performing, showing people what I can do. Yeah, just performing, having fun, and all that.
So, and it's just to see the growth in her confidence, her self-esteem has been built up, and she just feels better about herself.
She talked about that at the end of her interview. She said that, I said, what do you like about Special Olympics? She said, not being made fun of, being myself and having my friends laugh with me rather than at me. How does that make you feel?
Well, it certainly makes me feel proud of her that she's come to that point in her life that she can identify that. And she has become, even because of Special Olympics, she's become an amazing advocate for herself and for other individuals with intellectual learning disabilities. She won't let anybody make fun of her or her friends. And it's just given her that confidence to be able to speak out and say, hey, wait a minute, it's not okay for you to laugh at me. So it's been wonderful for her.
Would you say that that's one of the many positive things that Special Olympics offers their Olympians?
Absolutely, and on top of all of that, it offers them friendships. Most of all, it gives them a social outlet where they wouldn't otherwise have had. A lot of our athletes will be sitting at home and really have nothing to do, so it's really about getting them out and having them meet friends and you know, being more social.
For our team specifically, we really came together for this tournament, and we really stepped up as athletes and as a team. We worked together, we worked hard, and absolutely with the confidence for all the athletes here. Just the opportunity to compete is amazing for them, and that opportunity to come here and show us what they can do is awesome. Yeah, it's starting to set in a little bit now, you know. We made the city proud. We played hard, we did our best, and it's an amazing feeling for sure.
It's pretty exciting because this is our first provincial years holding here in Guelph, and it's a rare occasion because it happens once every 4 years. So it's a great opportunity, you know, to play with the team and, you know, just hosting the whole provincials here in our own hometown. So it's pretty exciting. It's hard to count for friends. It's hard to say. It's lots of them. And we actually had a couple of new players on our team, Jared and Ryan. They're from Durham, and they're a huge advantage. They're big guys, so it's great to have them. And yeah, we had tons of fun, you know. We just look on the positive outlooks, and, you know we can pull it off together. And we have great coaches, too, so they really help us pull it through. You know, oh, man, it's one of the greatest feelings in the world. Man, I can't tell you. Like, I've been to other provincials before, but this is the first time ever for the spring games that we have a gold medal, so it's pretty exciting.
Gwen, what an amazing turnout the past 3 days. I mean, obviously a lot of work went into this, but how much enthusiasm do you have seeing all the joy coming to athletes, fans, and even families' faces?
Well, I've been to a number of games, Scott, as you can imagine, but I haven't seen a weekend that's had more enthusiasm than this one. And it speaks well of, this is a sports town. Guelph's a great sports town. You know, I've had Memorial Cup champions, great, you know, Guelph Griffins football teams. This is a sports town, so we knew we were in the right spot.
And now this is the largest spring provincial games in history. You've planned a lot of these things in the past. How much more went into planning a larger games like this as opposed to events in the past?
Scott, you know, I'm always amazed. You know, we've got this great relationship with the policing community, and, you know, and when the Guelph Police Service said, you know, we want to take this on, we've got great confidence that, you know, in the police community, when they want to do something, they do it well. And this is no exception. I mean, the Guelph. I mean, it's a you know, Guelph's a mid-sized community, so it's a bigger task. But you know what? As I said on Thursday, you know, when you know you've got a great partnership, when things are going wrong and the civility is great, and you just say, I'm going to fix it. And so I don't know whether anybody noticed anything behind the scenes, but the reality is that these are just fabulous games. It's because of the people.
And now, I'm glad you brought up Guelph being a medium-sized city and these being such large games. You guys as a committee had to land on one location. What made you guys choose the Royal City?
Probably two reasons. One, the enthusiasm of the Guelph Police Service, and great confidence we have in police services to do things well, and we knew they were going to do things well. The other thing is the University of Guelph is terrific. Yeah, you know, when we have a games of this size, being in a university town really helps, and really the partnership with the University of Guelph has been outstanding, and so that really helps a lot.
Okay, and now that we're going near the end here, it's been a long road, 18 months planning ahead of this, correct?
Correct.
I'm sure you're a little bit relieved to have it end. How thrilled are you with how it turned out?
We couldn't be more thrilled. I mean, games are successful when the community themselves feel that, you know, boy, this has really been, you know, a weekend of a lifetime, if you will. You know, when I go around and talk to parents and athletes and know how much they've appreciated what the people of Guelph have done, I'm enthused. But what I'm really enthused about is when, you know, you're going around and you're talking to volunteers in this community. Maybe it's their first time experience with Special Olympics. They're saying, you know, I do it in a heartbeat again. And that's after 18 months of a lot of work. When someone's looking back and you said, be sure you come back here again because we want to do this again, and that's what more could you want?
Well, thanks for doing this, and thanks for everything you've done for everyone in this city over the past 18 months.
Well, thanks so much for Rogers. Rogers is a great partner across the province of Ontario, and you guys here in Guelph have been exceptional, so thanks a lot for your support.
Frank, you created the Special Olympics all these years ago. Tell me a little bit about what inspired you to create them and how proud you are to see how far they've come.
Well, they initiated really from research I did at the University of Toronto when I was on faculty there. Found out what great changes we could make in them and how much more capable they were than everybody gave them credit for. And always credited sport with a big part of my life, and what I said, if it can do it for me, it can do it for them too. Well, it's terrific, and I'll tell you, I haven't seen it better here, the support from the crowd. It doesn't matter whether it's 10-pin bowling or whether it's basketball or what. The response in the crowd is just like at a Raptor game, and don't think that that doesn't do very good things for our athletes when it happens.
Of course, anyone benefits from positive reinforcement, especially this weekend. And one thing that really stood out to me was the sportsmanship, not only between teammates, but competitors as well. Sportsmanship's been something that's been lost in sport recently, but definitely still alive and well in Special Olympics. How proud are you of that?
Well, to tell you the truth, when I started, we said it's sport. You know, don't treat us as play or fun. It really is competitive sport. But sport as sport was meant to be. You know, as the Coubertin with the Olympics meant the Olympics to be, and what so often they are not. But we get so saturated with professional sport, we think that's what sport. What's happening here is what sport really is.
That's all we have time for. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you felt some of the adrenaline and excitement from the competition like we did. We want to thank everyone who participated in this year's games and everyone else who made this program possible. From the Special Olympics Ontario Provincial Spring Games in Guelph, I'm Scott Fraser.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
She is wearing the most stunning ball gown. Join us each week on Labor of Love as we talk to professionals about how to turn your wedding dreams into a reality.
Regulars from pubs and pool halls across the community square off to see who has the best 8-ball players in the region. That's Ringers versus Regulars on Rogers TV.
Let me teach you how to be single.
I'm sorry, it's my daughter.
Me too. I mean, I'm a daughter.
You really need to get that taken care of.
What?
Rapunzel, Rapunzel, don't let down that hair.
How to be single.
Boy,
Why wait to watch what you want? Order the hottest new release movies with the touch of a button. Go to Rogers On Demand on Channel 100 and start watching today.
This is Rogers TV, Guelph.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, athletes and coaches. Tonight, welcome to the Sleeman Sports and Entertainment Center here in beautiful downtown Guelph, Ontario. Tonight, we are proud to present the closing ceremony of the 2016 Special Olympics Ontario Spring Games. And to get our party started tonight, a band who all the members of are members of the Guelph Police Service. Please welcome Blown Cover.
Tonight we right or wrong. Tonight we sail like a radio song. Rescue me, should I go down? Ever stay too long? If it's trouble all time, you sing it. Oh, yeah. You wreck me, baby. Ooh, you bring me into. Ooh, you move me, honey. Well, yes, you do. Every now and again, when I get the feeling, if I don't win, yeah, I'm gonna break even. Rescue me, like I go wrong. If I dig too deep, baby, if I stay too long, sing it. Whoa, yeah, yeah. Ooh, you wreck me, baby. Oh, you bring me into. Oh, you move
Special Olympics athletes, coaches, and guests, I would like to introduce tonight's MC, host of Magic Mornings on Magic 106.1, Lisa Richards.
Wow, good evening. I'm almost a little intimidated to be standing in front of all of you athletes. You guys all rock. How about these guys? Did they rock? All members of the Guelph Police Service, I don't know, tickets for a noise bylaw tonight? Just a little? Nice job. Once again, blown cover. It is indeed my pleasure to be here with you this evening. I'd like to welcome our viewers who are watching on Rogers TV throughout the entire province of Ontario this evening. Pretty exciting. We are definitely thrilled that you are sharing the closing ceremonies of the 2016 Special Olympics Ontario Spring Games with us. I've had the distinct pleasure and privilege of working here in the Royal City for 20 years now. I've been with Magic. And, you know, I can honestly say I think this is the most proud I've ever been to be a Guelphite. This event, 20 years, a career highlight indeed. In fact, 3 special things have happened to me over the last few days because of the Spring Games. One, being given the honor of putting a silver medal and a gold medal around the necks of 2 of our swimmers in this crowd tonight. Congratulations. The second was meeting a young man by the name of Chris. I just met him today from Perth, representing Perth in basketball. Chris, are you out there somewhere? Chris handed me a pin and gave it to me, and I promised I would wear it to the closing ceremonies tonight. So representing the town of Perth, it's up here. Thank you, Chris. And the third moment was a very special one for me. I got to host the morning show at Magic FM live from the Athletes' Breakfast yesterday at Creelman Hall at the University of Guelph. And yeah, I got to meet a lot of you. I was definitely honored when a young man by the name of Mark came over and asked me if he could come on the air with me. He had a very special message for his dad. Mark, are you out there right now? Mark wanted to send a very special message to his father. He misses him and prayed that he could be here with him. He asked if he could send that special message over the radio to his dad, who could not be here. There you are. Mark, you are the reason I love what I do. We were able to get that message out to your entire family who is listening, and we know your dad loves you and no matter what, supports you wherever he may be, okay? Now, to the rest of you, you are all winners, all champions, and I want to sincerely thank each and every one of you for bringing the magic to the Royal City. All right, our first order of business to introduce all of these Special Olympic athletes and coaches who have worked so incredibly hard over the past few days of these competitions. This is your celebration, a job well done. So, as I introduce them, please help me in congratulating them all. Ladies and gentlemen, our Special Olympics athletes and coaches. deserve it. Thank you. Special Olympics athletes and coaches, your spirit and your dedication are an inspiration to all of us. At this time, I would like to introduce a local vocalist. This 13-year-old Guelph native has been a scholarship winner in the Guelph Kiwanis Festival for the past 2 years. And in 2015, she represented Guelph at the Provincial Kiwanis Music Festival. Athletes, please rise.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all the sun's command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true North strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem singer, Lindsay Scott. Thank you. And now, we are delighted to have a very special surprise guest tonight. He is a four-time Grey Cup winning player and coach, member of the Canadian Football Hall of Fame, currently the vice chairman of the Toronto Argonauts. Please help me welcome Michael Pinball Clemons.
Wow! Wow! Good evening! Oh my! It's so good to see you! I want to say that I'm so excited to be here with you. Now, I want you, if you don't mind, to give that same sort of energy, that same round of applause. Lindsay, who just sang, she was really nervous back. Didn't she do a wonderful job? We'll just give her... Yes. I have to tell you that I'm always excited to be here with you. No, I've been involved with Special Olympics since 1990. First started with the Special Olympics Sports Celebrities Festival, and I've been there 25 out of the 26 years. And you know, I have to say that in having that experience, I now know what a Special Olympics moment looks like. Yes. And so we just had a Special Olympics moment just a minute ago, right? So when Lindsay started to sing, immediately everybody began to sing the anthem with her. That is a Special Olympics moment. Would you agree with me? Yes. And last night, I had another Special Olympics moment. We were at the Raptors game, and the score didn't turn out exactly like we wanted it to. But you know what was great? You know what was great? Was at the end of the game, We were down by 20 points and we weren't going to come back. But the whole audience began to say, "Let's go Raptors. Let's go Raptors." Yeah, and then they did the chant, "We the North." And they were just approving. They'd say, "Listen, we gave our best. We did our best. And that's all we can do. Let me win. And if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt." That's a Special Olympics moment. Now, if I could, I want to tell you a little bit of story. I don't have a long time, so they told me that you got to be fast tonight, Pinball. So I heard about this little story, though, that I thought was a really neat story. It's a true story about a farmer. And there was a... Uh-oh, is this a setup? No, it's not a setup. It's not a setup. But there was a gentleman who was traveling, and farmers are always so nice, always so generous. He was traveling, and he had run out of money. He had run out of money. He didn't have anything, but he was a pretty industrious guy. So he said, he stopped at this farm and he said, "Sir, I don't have any money." He says, "But I am willing to work. Would you be willing to allow me to stay here for a few days and give me something to eat if I do some work around the farm for you?" And the guy says, "Yes, absolutely." He says, "As a matter of fact," he says, "you see the farm that's across the stream there?" He says, "Yes, I do." He says, "Well, that farm belongs to my brother. And my brother took the tractor that we build our lives with. We supported our family. Everything you see here on my farm and his, we all did together. But we had an argument, and he took that tractor, and the same tractor we built our whole lives with, and he dug out a stream that separates our properties now. He says, what I'm going to ask you to do is to build a fence so that I'll never have to see his place or his face ever again." Well, this wasn't the news that he really wanted to hear, but it was work, and he needed something to eat, and he needed a place to stay. So he says, "Okay, I'll get started in the morning." So he got up that morning, and the gentleman, the farmer, showed him the wood pile, and he says, "I'm going into town. I'll return a little bit later." And so he went and began to work, and the gentleman went into town. He went into town, and he came back, and when he came back, he still heard the hammering going. He says, "Oh my, he must be a hard worker." And a little bit later, right around dusk, just as the sun was going down, it was a day that was a little bit foggy, and so a little bit of fog had come in. He heard the hammering stop, and so he went out to go and see how things had progressed. And as he walked out, he saw the guy walking towards him. As the shadow came towards him, because there was a little fog, he couldn't make out exactly who it was. Then the walk turned into a run. And finally, he realized as he ran with his arms open, he says, my brother, how are you?" He says, "I can't believe that after I dug this ditch between our properties to separate us, that you would actually build a bridge between our properties so that we could have a relationship again." Now, obviously, the farmer was really embarrassed. He just hugged his brother, and he couldn't believe how petty this was and how this kept them apart for so long. But the other thing was, he says, I've got to go and find this guy, because I told him to build a fence, and he built a bridge instead. And he went to look for him, and when he went to look for him, he found him, and he said, "Sir," he says, "you need to know that you can stay here as long as you want." He says, "I'll always have something to do for you." He actually brought their families back together. So he felt indebted to this guy. And the guy says, no, I have to go. He says, no, you can't go. He says, you have to stay. He says, "I've got plenty of things to do." The guy says, no, I'm sorry, I have to go. He says, you see, I have other bridges to build. The Special Olympics Spring Games and Special Olympics overall is just about that. It's about building bridges. And you, as Special Olympians, I want to say that you teach us how to love, you teach us how to live, and you teach us how to give. My message... My very simple message to you today is continue to build bridges wherever you go, okay? There's a saying, we rise by lifting others. So what I'm going to ask is, as I close here, I'm going to ask you to stand up and just cheer and clap, but not for me, not for the speaker, right? What I'm going to ask you to do is this. I'm going to ask you to cheer for each other. That's really what life's all about. Never stop cheering for people. Continue to build bridges, okay? So as I go up, you rise. Let's cheer for each other. Special Olympics, Spring Games, Ontario, 2016. You're phenomenal.
Wow. Thank you, Pinball. I've been waiting a long time to say that. Now, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Special Olympics athlete and a proud member of the Guelph Police Service, Whitney Heron, who will introduce competitor Ava Bell. Hi. Okay.
Hello, friends and fellow athletes. It gives me a great pleasure to introduce my friend and basketball player, Ava Bell. You talked about her experience at the Guelph Spring Games.
You can move right up, Ava. You can stay.
Hello, my name is Ava Bell. I am a proud Special Olympics athlete. I have part of Special Olympics for over 10 years now. My favorite sport is basketball. I like to guard and steal the ball. I get very excited when I score, and so my great teammate, Jessie Mays, always reminds me where I'm supposed to be after. My favorite memory so far was winning the qualifier to get into the Guelph Spring Games. I know it is okay if we don't win, but I really do love winning the championship. Coming to the Guelph Spring Games is part of my life's goal, to be a player for the WNBA. Like my favorite player, Sue Bird, number 10. You never know what can happen if you work hard. When I see my banner hanging up in Guelph, I feel like a pro. I wonder if Special Olympics athletes want my autograph, just like I want Sue Bird's. You just never know. Special Olympics, my dreams come true. I would like to thank everyone who helped and volunteers to make it so all the athletes here today could make dreams come true. Remember to have fun, do your best, and never give up. Thank you.
She'll be signing autographs over to the right. Thank you to Ava and Whitney. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Guelph Police Chief Jeff DeRuyter.
Thank you, Lisa. Boy, this is a tough act to follow. First Pinball and then Ava. This is amazing. I'm going to keep this really short because I know you all want to get back to the university to get a good night's sleep, right? All right. Two days ago, we gathered here, and the energy and the excitement almost lifted the roof off the Sleeman Center, and it carried out into the community and into the different venues. Since then, since the opening ceremonies, you've competed, you've strived to do your best, you've had fun and fellowship, and together we have celebrated the spirit of sport and the gift of Special Olympics. And have we celebrated? Athletes, I'm so pleased that you came to Guelph, and I hope that you had an unbelievable experience. I hope that you always have great memories of Guelph and the Guelph 2016 Games. I know our Guelph police team will always remember this experience. Some of you will now go on to the National Games and hopefully beyond, and I wish you the best of success. Hopefully each athlete here will continue to take part in sport in your local communities and continue to train and persevere to attempt to come to the next games. On behalf of the Guelph Police, I do want to thank everyone who had a role in making these games possible. Undoubtedly, I could go on for an hour recognizing all our staff, volunteers, and everyone that was involved, but I won't do that tonight. Sorry. But I would like to recognize two individuals by name. You're going to hear from one of them shortly, but Detective Constable Chris Probst is our games manager, and just hold on, and Dominique O'Rourke is the Director of Sponsorship and Marketing. They've done an incredible job, and I'd like to ask you to join me in thanking them. I'm incredibly grateful to everyone for making these games a success and allowing our community to come together to experience Special Olympics. The motto for the games was believe and achieve. We now have a new reason to believe in Special Olympics because we have achieved a phenomenal games. Thank you. And now I would like to introduce the man who has overseen these games from the beginning. Please help me to welcome Games Manager, Guelph Police Detective Constable Chris Probst.
How epic were the last 3 days? As we wind down these games, I have a message for all of you athletes. The definition of inspire is to cause something to happen or to be created, or to cause somebody to have feelings or emotion. This is exactly what you athletes have done for us. You've inspired 45 people to work their tail off for a year and a half to make sure that these are the best spring games ever. You've inspired Chief Director and Deputy Chief Martin to do what it takes to allow the Games Organizing Committee to get the job done. You've inspired 10-year-old Clara to raise funds. Yes. She's a 10-year-old who raised over $3,000 to support the Spring Games. You inspired the community that we call Guelph to rally together and provide whatever needs to be provided to get it done. Lastly, and most importantly, you've inspired over 600 volunteers to sacrifice their personal lives to stand in the heat just to make sure everything runs smoothly. We couldn't have done it without them. So all of us want to thank you for giving us inspiration. We want to thank you for showing us that we can all work together for a common goal and make these spring games fantastic and never forgotten. Yes. I'd also like to personally thank everyone that cleared the path for the Games Organizing Committee. Although I appreciate the applause, the fact of the matter is I'm just one person that happens to be first in line of a long line of people that made this happen. Like I said, the chief and the deputy, they couldn't be more supportive. If we had an issue, it was resolved at the highest level. The City of Guelph and the University of Guelph worked together to overcome every single obstacle we had. Businesses all over Guelph and the surrounding area provided financial resources when we faced the staggering cost of running the Spring Games. There's no doubt in my mind that this community spirit provided a very strong backbone that created the experience that we just felt over the last 3 days. Again, I want to thank all the athletes for doing what you do and inspiring us. Thanks on a personal level for an experience of a lifetime. I've never seen such strong camaraderie, emotion, and enthusiasm. I've never seen that in any other sporting event. Basically, you guys rocked it. And I thank you. Please direct your attention to the screen as we celebrate some of the highlights from our wonderful Spring Games.
It is my great privilege to welcome you to Guelph for the start of the Guelph 2016 Spring Games.
1, 2, 3,
the memories and those faces. Nice. I'd also like to call attention to one of our special athletes here this evening, Gordy Mickey. Gordy is going to Rio for Canada. Gordy has set 5 or maybe now even 6 Canadian records, 4 golds alone at these games. That's inspiration right there. Nice. Ladies and gentlemen, I now direct your attention to the back of the arena.
These are the heroes we cry out for.
Led by Sergeant Major Jeremy Mitchell and followed by Unit Commander Sergeant Doug Flew. Please welcome the Chief Ceremonial Unit composed of members of the Guelph Police Service. Chief Jeff DeRuyter. And Special Olympics athletes Kelly Crispin and Mackenzie DeYoung. Followed by the Peel Regional Police Service delegation, including the Ontario Director of the Law Enforcement Torch Run, Detective Sergeant Kevin McBean and his son, Special Olympics athlete Ryan McBean, and Deputy Chief Brian Adams, and Peel Special Olympics athletes Ashley Hilton.
In search for answers to questions of why all these heroes' hearts will never die. So with tendon pull, their heads point to the sky. The pain they feel is all inside. These are the heroes.
The flag of the 2016 Special Olympics Ontario Spring Games will now be lowered.
So praise come for one whose shoulders will carry fame. These are the heroes of
The flag is now presented to the Guelph Police Service Chief DeRuyter.
rain falls down on common ground.
And receiving the flag is Peel Regional Police Service Deputy Chief Brian Adams. The symbolic flame of hope will now be passed by Guelph Special Olympics athlete Mackenzie DeYoung to Peel Special Olympics athletes Ashley Hilton and Ryan McBean.
These are the heroes of the game. These are the heroes.
Ladies and gentlemen, as the Special Olympics Ontario Flag and Flame of Hope begin their journey to the future game site in Peel Region, let's give it a huge Guelph send-off.
These are the heroes of the game. These are the heroes of the game.
this time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the President and CEO of Special Olympics Ontario, Mr. Glenn Mcdonnell.
Thanks, Lisa. You guys rock. Did anyone have any fun this weekend? Me too. You know, whether you're at an event like this weekend or volunteering in your community, it's all Special Olympics. But games are the pinnacle of sport. Not because they're more important, but because they're the platform by which we get to show how really good our athletes are. There's no place where communities, big or not so big, have taken on hosting tasks with the vigor or the importance and the commitment like our communities here in Ontario. And they're led by some of the greatest people, our police services in Ontario. As much as we can take some collective credit, we've one group that stands above all else in making these happen. It's this special relationship we have with the law enforcement community and the specific commitment that the Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police make to our cause. If you've gone to as many police or state games that I have, trust me, we're in a class all by ourselves. This is 20 years of superlative support, and would you all get up on your feet and show the policing community and the Guelph Police Service what we think of them? That's right. We love our cops, eh? You know, 20 years is a long time. You know, and tonight I'd also like to acknowledge my friend Vince Perel and his outstanding team from Events Force. They too have produced every opening and closing ceremony in those 20 years. Wasn't that opening ceremony something else Thursday night? You know, it's so enjoyable to work with Vince and Simon and Brian and Adrian and Lee and a host of others. You know, they've produced some big acts and some big-time entertainers. But Vince puts more passion and has more fun doing your games. You know, as they say, when you hang with the best, because you guys are the best. You know, each and every community comes together and brings a sense of uniqueness and promise that makes their games so special. I could go on all night about the people in Guelph and how the people of Guelph have taken on this mantra to a whole new level. But you've been here, you've witnessed it, you've seen the care and the attention and the first-class sport experience, the outstanding hospitality, and the exceptional way this community has made our games the focus of their attention. Let's hear it for Guelph. You know, ladies and gentlemen, it's been that way since the beginning. You know, I'm very certain, and it will continue long after we've departed. Guelph is a great sports town, renowned for their volunteerism and community spirit, and we've witnessed that firsthand. You know, to the many sponsors and volunteers who supported our games and Special Olympics, you've done yourself proud. It simply speaks so well to the people who live here. You know, Chief, I reached out to you, as I have to so many of your colleagues, with a large request, and you never hesitated. You and your police service have been a great partner. You know, to our games manager, Chris Probst, you know, the learning curve was steep, the challenges many, but your attitude and good cheer never wavered. Thank you, Chris. You know, Chief, you only had one objective, and that was to make your community proud and put on a great games for these athletes. You've been successful, my friend. These have been outstanding games. Congratulations to everybody from Guelph. You know, there's been just a surprise a minute, you know, for these games all weekend, you know, and Lisa had a big surprise. God, she brought out Pinball Clemons. But you know what? I have even a bigger surprise. You know, he wasn't able to be here this evening, but you know who I brought along with me tonight? The creator of Special Olympics, Dr. Frank Hayden. Dr. Frank Hayden. You know, Frank, over the many years that you've been around the movement, you've seen a few games. What do you think of these games?
Well, I'll tell you, just in a couple of years, Special Olympics will have its 50th birthday. 50 years. And I'll just tell you that over all that time, I have never been to a games where everybody, athletes, coaches, spectators, parents, officials, entertainers, everybody was so enthusiastic and noisy and joyous. You know, we are all just delighted to be here and attend what has been created by the wonderful people of Guelph. Thank you.
Frank, I've heard you tell me many, many times that you know that if we had to send the athletes and the coaches and the parents home with one message, what would we say tonight?
I think the first thing I would say, do you remember all your colleagues back home? The ones that didn't get to come here like you and enjoy it. Tell them about it and encourage them to work hard, and next time they'll be here with you. That's it. And of course, the other thing, I don't need to tell you this, but remember to say thank you for the people who were responsible for getting you here. Your coaches, your parents, and everybody back home.
I know Lisa had a big surprise, but I think mine was bigger, wasn't it, guys? You know, athletes, coaches, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, sadly, we have one final official duty to perform. Please draw your attention to the cauldron as the flame of the 2016 Special Olympics Ontario Provincial Spring Games will now be extinguished.
You raise me up so I can stand
Ladies and gentlemen, coaches and athletes, it's now my sort of sad duty to declare that the 2016 Special Olympics Ontario Spring Games are officially closed. Bon voyage!
I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up.
Thank you, Glenn. Dr. Frank Hayden and his escort, Greg Mcdonnell from the Guelph Police Service Traffic Division. To take this opportunity now to thank all of the Special Olympics athletes, coaches, volunteers, sponsors, and game officials who have made these games such a wonderful success. Thank you also to our audience here tonight, our viewers watching on Rogers TV throughout the entire province tonight. One final thought. We urge everyone to get involved with Special Olympics because you will receive so much more than you could ever possibly give. It has been my pleasure, my honor to have been here tonight to conclude this memorial event. Please put your hands together. We should get this party started. Welcome back, Guelph's own Blown Cover.
All right, we're gonna send this one out to Gord in Kingston. Send him some love. He wrote this song. Had an Olympics once in my hometown. You all were in it from miles around. Out at that speedway, some kind of law enforcement thing. I'm not a movie star, but I can get behind anything. some noise. Out at that speedway, some kind of Elvis sang. Well, I'm not a rock star, but I can get behind anything. Come on, Miss Bass! But I can get behind anything.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line.